Alright, I'm very excited to talk about everyone's favorite topic. Numbers. Specifically, movies that rival Avengers Endgame box office numbers, if there were 7 or so digits missing. Yeah, being a filmmaker can be difficult, especially when you do not have a large company backing you, so in turn, independent movies rarely receive any profit unless they find their way onto a streaming service or something. But surprisingly, the lowest grossing movies of all time either feature notable actors, or were at least financed by an established studio. I must say that a lot of these lowest grossing films did garner more attention in other countries around the world, and we're solely talking about the lowest US box office numbers in this video. Even some of the movies that did better overseas didn't break even, so that still counts as a box office flop. Along with foreign box office revenue, these movies eventually surfaced on home video, which again boosts their sales up. This is supposed to be a kids movie? It looks like Ruby Gloom and Food Fight were thrown together into a blender, made into a smoothie, and then were puked out, and here you have it. Mummy I'm a Zombie. This film is the 2014 sequel to Daddy I'm a Zombie, and only grossed $120 when it was screened in the United States. I'm only half kidding about the art style, by the way. I mean, yeah, it looks kinda cheap looking, but having grown up with animated shows like Edgar and Ellen and the aforementioned Ruby Gloom, I can sorta dig it. I think the fact that it is 3D animation as opposed to hand-drawn traditional art doesn't really do the film any favors and dampens the overall quality. It feels cheaper than it potentially could have been because it's 3D animation as opposed to 2D. Though Mummy I'm a Zombie didn't perform well at all in the US, the film was made and released to Spain, so I'm sure it fared way better over there. The Objective is the latest installment in Activision's long-running— oh wait, this isn't a Call of Duty game? The poster is just so generic that it looks like any other COD cover. If I leave you with just this visual, with no other words attached, can you really tell which one's which? In any case, The Objective was directed by Daniel Myrick, one half of the duo behind the Blair Witch Project. It's kind of ironic how this guy goes from box office smash with a mostly improvised film about some people going out into the woods, to then directing this sci-fi epic that grossed a mere $95 in America. I know The Objective is also a horror movie, but it's interesting how this film had a limited release in the US, and in actuality, it premiered in Morocco in 2008. In the United States, The Objective only screened for 9 days, and it came out 1 year after this premiere by IFC Films. Dog Eat Dog sounds like a cannibal's wet dream, but even with the star power of Nicolas Cage and Willem Dafoe— oh wait, this is the Dog Eat Dog movie we're discussing, my mistake. This Dog Eat Dog film that we're talking about is Colombian, does not have Nick Cage, and was up for US distribution by IFC Films again. Dog Eat Dog only grossed $80 domestically. Oh yeah, apparently films that only open in one cinema do poorly, never would have guessed. According to this Variety article, IFC paid just under 6 figures to purchase the film, and that's pretty fucking painful knowing the outcome. Either way, Dog Eat Dog just looks like a subpar action gang movie and looks as generic as all of the other run-of-the-mill action films released nowadays. Paranoid Girls is a Spanish comedy film and only made $78 but getting the money wasn't really in the director's interests. You see, the director, Pedro del Santo, negotiated a week-long release window at Los Angeles Lamel Theaters for his film, so that he could submit it for the Oscars. The Lamel cinemas mainly screen art house movies, as well as being known for screening independent or foreign films just so they can be qualified for Academy Award nominations.
It's actually Lemley, not Lamel, you fucking noob.
Yes, sorry about the mispronunciation, I'm a bit of a dipshit when it comes to that, let's carry on. So yeah, the film only grossed around $78 in the United States, but again, I can't feel that bad because the only reason it was screened there in the first place was in order to throw their hat into the Academy Awards ring, and they didn't win anything unfortunately. But hey, if you're into comedies centered around the fashion industry, it's on Amazon for only $3 to rent and another 7 bones to actually purchase. Why does Confession of a Child of the Century sound like a Planet of the Apes movie title? After 2017's Wolf of the Planet of the Apes, we have the epic 4th chapter called Confession of the Planet of the Apes. What a mouthful. Anyway, here we have the lowest grossing US theatrical release of 2015, which also competed in the uncertain regard section at the Cannes Film Festival in 2012. Based off the novel of the same name, the film stars Charlotte Gainsbourg and Pete Doherty, and in the United States specifically, it only grossed $74 from a 1-week-long screening period in one theater. Confession of a Child of the Century, that does not get any easier to say by the way, was distributed in the US by Cohen Media Group, a company which streams the more out there movies, and they also restore classic films, which is awesome. For instance, if you want great 4K restorations of Buster Keaton films, go to Cohen Media Group. So back to... yeah, I'm not saying this movie name ever fucking again, but the point is, it is the third lowest grossing film in the US. You want some storage? You want some 24? Well, look no further than Storage 24. It only made $72, and in all sincerity, Storage 24 ended up making around 6 figures against an estimated $1.6 million budget later on, but in terms of domestic America box office, $72.
Do it.
No! Holy shit, did you just see that, guys? Oh my god. He just fucking murdered him.
Zizek's Road is what happens when you beat the shit out of your keyboard, then your buddy takes it away from you and writes the word road. Well, in any case, Writing Spasm the movie only received $20 to $30, making it the lowest US box office number of all time. There must be a story behind this movie and why it flopped so bad. I mean, it's an American domestic movie with a famous lead, and it's even based off of an actual road in California, so how can it make only $30 or so? Well, the film was intentionally released in one cinema that the producers rented out for $1,000. The executive producer of the movie, Leo Grillo, who also plays one of the main characters, he really was quite into securing foreign markets first. But anyway, after multiple issues during production, the film was finished, but nobody was really meant to see Zizek's Road. The one cinema screening ran for 7 days to fulfill a SAG agreement, which allows low-budget independent movies to pay actors a cheaper rate if there is a domestic run. Now, before I said that it generated $20 to $30, and the official US gross is debatable. This is because the film's makeup artist paid and attended one of the screenings with a friend, and when Grillo caught wind of this, he insisted that they would be refunded, making the total gross $20. I'll leave a link to a very in-depth Entertainment Weekly article surrounding the film, as it is an interesting read and has plenty of insight from the director, John Penny, and of course Leo Grillo. And no, I wouldn't say that Zizek's Road is the worst film of all time or anything like that just based off its US gross, because nobody was really supposed to see it. And that argument is silly anyway, because Avatar, the second highest grossing movie of all time, is not the second best movie of all time. Oh, and as for the foreign performance of the movie, it certainly earned more than $30, that's for sure. Eventually the movie went on to DVD, and that's the tale of the worst US box office gross of all time. By the way, what's really weird is that there's another film just called Zizek's, and it was released the same year, in 2006, but now it's apparently called Burned and is selling on Amazon for $20 on DVD. I don't know. While all movies listed in this video made minimal numbers in the US, especially compared to juggernauts like Avatar or Endgame, they are still infamous in their own rights. It's also interesting to look back and see how much better these movies fared in foreign markets, as some of them did quite well overseas. Just like how we look at films like Plan 9 or The Room with such appreciation, I believe we should do ourselves a service and check out the lowest grossing movies of all time as well.